Hi, welcome to our Forget Dr. Google Creating Medical Content on Your Own Practice website, and we are going to get started in just a couple of minutes, so hang tight. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend today. And I'm excited to talk to you about a topic that I absolutely love. It's our medical content that we offer and looking at what is currently on your website and what we can do to help your website. So as people are joining, if you have questions, there is a place in your tools that you can ask a question, and we'll get to those, if not during the presentation, at the very end. So please feel free to put those in there, and we're going to jump right in. Hopefully you guys can see my screen as we walk through this today. My name is Rebecca Shade. I have been with RemedyConnect about 16 years now. I absolutely love working with pediatric and family practices. Love seeing what you're doing in your communities and how we can assist you to do more just to reach your families and get great information to them, which is what we're going to go over today, making sure that people are not just Googling information for medical content. There is some pretty bad content out there. We want to make sure that there is solid information that lines up with your practice protocols and what you guys believe is a practice and what your providers can get behind and support. So today, our goals, what we're going to go through is understanding the importance of having that reliable medical content on your website instead of just linking out to third-party sites. There are some fantastic third-party sites like the AAP, healthychildren.org, CDC, NIH, fantastic places, but it is more powerful for your reputation management and also for your patients if it actually stays on your website whenever possible. So we'll look at that. We also want to create a consistent message from the time someone searches you out online, finds your website, calls the office, sets an appointment, from the time they walk out your door after an appointment, that medical information has been consistent all the way across, and we'll show you how we can help do that, what we have found to be super effective. There is synergy with using the symptom checker and your triage advice and the aftercare instructions. And it's also important to update your medical content. Things change. We especially know walking through COVID how quickly things were changing all the time. So having that ability to go into the back end of your website or through our site, if you place just the medical content on a website you already have built, so that you can edit it as needed when new information comes up, you will have that ability. So I want to start today just to see where you're at. I am going to start a poll. Let me pull this up for you. So have you ever checked to see if your medical content stays on your website or links to a third-party website? Please take a moment and just click in there. Yes, no, or maybe you don't have medical content on your site. We'd love to know that as well. Give you just a few moments to answer that. Okay, I'm going to go with the answers that are in now. So I'm going to close this and share the results with you. So right now, I'm glad to hear that 78% of you have checked your medical content so that you know whether it stays on your site or goes outside. I guess maybe I should have asked, does it stay on your site or does it go to a third-party site? And then 22% said they just don't know. Or I'm sorry, you don't have medical content right now. So let's dive in and look at what we can do about that. About 20 years ago, RemedyConnect created the first online pediatric symptom checker. Dr. Dan Fighton, who is now the CMO of Office Practicum, worked with Dr. Bart Schmidt here at Children's Hospital in Denver. And they were visionaries for where websites were leading and the information that parents needed, not just 8 to 5, but sometimes at 2 in the morning. And so to offer a solution, they came up with this pediatric symptom checker that we started placing on websites. And we still do that today. Of course, that has changed and grown dramatically over the past 20 years. So a couple of key items to think about when you're looking at your medical content is the first thing is it should stay on your website whenever possible. And I'm going to share an instance where we purposefully will link out to the CDC, but for the most part, we really want to stay on the website. And so let's take a peek at that. Here, when we're opening up, this is just one way we can place, is your child sick? That is Dr. Bart Schmidt's content as a symptom checker. And this can be displayed a couple of different ways that we're going to walk through. In the drop-down, you have an option here. You also have the symptom checker that you can roll over the body and also get to the same articles. So here, if I pull this up, you'll notice that when the article comes up, I did not leave this website. I am still here, and yet the article is giving me the important information. With Dr. Bart Schmidt, all of these articles are set up. If maybe you didn't click on the right topic, you're kind of close to that, it is going to pull up optional articles that are in that same family. And then we're always going to split up how this is written. When is it emergent? You need to call 911 or get in immediately to see a provider versus things that can take place within the next 24 hours, making an appointment, reaching out to your pediatric provider versus something you might be able to do at home to take care of whatever is going on. So all of the articles we have on websites are updated immediately if updates are made by Dr. Bart Schmidt or the AAP. We have a live feed, and so when they make those updates, we do put them out to your websites right away as well. For other content, you'll just see as I walk through different pediatric pages, you're still going to show up on your website for this content. Another thing that's really important is the placement of the URL. And when we're looking at that, how far into the website is Google needing to go to find the keywords? So here's an example of some pediatric content. And when you look at this URL, you'll see after the .com / it's symptom checker / hashtag / topic / 409 / anxiety attack. That puts this content on the 6th level to be searchable by Google. So that's not very powerful any longer. It dilutes how far down they have to look. And when you're looking at that URL, there's information in there that are just really not keywords like 409 and hashtag. So how we've built the medical content, once you open it up and you delve into a specific article, you'll see we actually put our medical content on the 2nd level. So we'll have your URL, the .com / and then it goes right to anxiety attack. That helps for searchability and also telling Google what's important on that page. It comes out very clearly that anxiety is what's important. When someone's doing a Google search, that'll help this specific page come up quicker than the one I showed you previously. It's also important when we look at this information not to have Easter egg hunts. If you've met with me or done a demo, I say this often, Easter egg hunts are great at Easter, but not on a website. We want it very clear where you want your patients to click to get the important information they're waiting for. And so one way we do that is on a homepage, you want to make sure that you have quick links to go to the most clicked on content. So always a great test, asking your providers, are you getting phone calls in the middle of the night? 4 things that really should be answered on your website. So for example, this one comes up so often. Someone gets a phone call at 2 a.m. How much Tylenol do I give my 8-year-old? And you're thinking, I really shouldn't have had to wake up a provider to answer that question, but the call got through. And so in that case, you would say, well, we really should have had a quick link on our homepage and throughout the site to make sure they could quickly get to the information needed, like medicine dosages, health information library, etc. So where you put your links is very important. So just thinking out your website in general, where people click, what is their call to action to get to the most important information. So I want to ask another question to you guys. I'm going to pull up a second poll. Is your website medical content mobile responsive? That means you've pulled it up either on your phone, or you can, when you're in a desktop mode, also right click and go to inspect and look at it in a mobile version there, iPad, tablet, other versions. So if you could click on here for me, just so I know where you guys are at. Do you know if your mobile website content is, or your content is mobile responsive? Yes, no, or you don't have medical content on the website? Give it a few more seconds. We're getting some good votes in here. You can quickly pull up your cell, go to your URL and pull up maybe medicine dosages to see what comes up. You want to make sure you don't have to slide across the screen to see that information, that it comes up very easily for you. And I'm going to close this in just a second. Okay. So here are the polling results. Out of responsiveness, 67% yes, fantastic. That means you've checked it. Super important to check that information. 25%, a quarter of you said no, and 8% you don't have the medical content. Really important to have that on your site, but it's not there yet. So coming back to our screen, some key points to look at. It is very important to search your website and to make sure that mobile first. About 70% of your clients are going to reach you on their cell phone and not a desktop. So because of that, if you're going to kind of look through your website, make sure things are easy to find, set up like you want them to be, definitely check it on a cell phone and see how that displays. And do searches. You want to make sure there is the ability to search on your website, key terms, know what your parents and patients are looking for, and then search those out so you know how easy that might be. So here, we'll look at some medicine dosages. This is just one way we display dosages. If I go, this is such a common one to pull up, to Tylenol. Within our medicine dosages, you can change the name. So if you wanted this to say acetaminophen/Tylenol, you can do whatever you want there. You can also change what we have here. Some of our practices don't want to list teaspoons, they just want mLs. All of this is editable by you on the back end if you do use our medical content. But really important here, let's say I am on a cell phone. I just right-clicked, went to inspect, and here I can choose different types of phones and experiences that you'll notice it automatically switched. We've thought ahead for this. It's no longer in a table format because that would not display very well on a phone. Instead, it's laid out differently so that the parent or patient have a better end user experience for it. When I go back, I'll click out of here. You can also do searches, which is important as they're looking for content. So here, a parent might come in and say they want to search fever. What do I do with a fever? How do I take a temperature? Whatever that might be. And it's going to go through and pull up medical articles that correspond with whatever that search is. I'm going to launch one more poll. This is the last one. If you guys could jump in and do this one with me as well. Just another important thing to be thinking about is how often do you update your medical content? Do you do that monthly, quarterly, yearly? Maybe you're not sure. Maybe that has not been delegated yet within your practice, or you don't update your medical content. So let's take a moment. If you would, it really helps me to know where you guys land here. Take just another moment. Okay, I'm going to close this one out, and you guys can see the results here. So no one on this call is doing it monthly. We do have half of you that jump in there quarterly, 25% yearly, and 25% are not sure or they don't update that current content. So let's look at the content that's on the site and why it's important. It is actually important to update your medical content as updates come. Now we have auto updates. Our medical content can either stand alone. Maybe you have a website you already really love, is good for your patients. We can add medical content to it that's pretty fantastic. If we build your website, that's already included the medical content as well. So either one can work. So here are some things that medical content would lay under and why it's important to update this info. So I'm going to go through well child visits, immunizations, medicine dosages, our medical library, which is mostly AAP content, and what's going around. As we jump in here, here is a practice. Here we have some well visits. This is some pre-written content that we have. So on the websites we build out, this is already going to be linked out for you with some content, but I mostly wanted to point out the content we have included. I do not leave our website. So if you look at the URL, I'm still on the original website with the Bright Futures, which most practices do use for handouts for those visits. We also have additional content. So if you wanted to link to vaccines, if you wanted to link to additional content on buckets of information, it'll pull that up as well, but I'm not leaving my website here. So that's really powerful. Another one is your immunization. So we were looking at what pages do practice parents, what are they clicking on the most? What is the information that's really important to them? Immunizations are very important. One, to prepare the child, the parent, to be prepared before they go in for the visit, knowing what's ahead, what the expectation for vaccines is on that specific visit, and even for the vaccine hesitant parent to be able to read up before the visit. So when I'm looking here, all of this is editable very easily on the back end. You can change this around. So maybe varicella is given at age 5 at your practice instead of 4. You can just move that right on down. If you click on any of the vaccines, it is going to give you what that recommended schedule is for a specific vaccine, and the viz sheet is here. If you go down a little further on our immunization pages, you will see the viz sheets are here included as the COVID EUA. I did talk about trying to stay on your website whenever possible. This is one of those few times we purposefully are going to link out to the CDC. If the CDC updates the viz, we want to make sure that is available to you immediately. It'll tell you the last time it was updated, but here is where that is automatically going to link out. A little further on the same page for immunizations is information for your parents, and this will stay on your website. So for example, if the parent is wondering about Hep C, are they hesitant? Do they just want to know why their child needs it? The AAP content is showing up again right on your website where they can read about it. Super important, they already trust you. They know that you are the subject matter expert. It's why they go to you as a pediatric practice. You have built relationship with them. So as much content as you can keep on your website, the better, because you already have that relationship. And so they really are going to trust you more if they can stay on that site with you. Another one we talked about was medicine dosages here. We have AAP content in here, and also the tables that are all editable. So I won't click on this one again. You guys were able to see how that works and can be edited. With our medical library, this is mostly AAP content. It is buckets of information. What's really awesome here is within these buckets of information, you can add your own content as well. So we have our content, but if your providers have written and published their own articles, maybe you have a lactation consultant that wants to write their own information under breastfeeding, they can add all of those articles themselves. They can also hide any articles they don't want to show up, completely flexible on the back end. The only one you cannot add to is Your Child Sick by Dr. Bart Schmidt. That is trademarked, so we can't add to that one bucket of information, but anything else you can here. So for example, if you want to pull up growth and development, I'm clicking wrong, you are able to see all of the Bright Futures for the different ages. And again, starting at age 7, you're going to have both the parent and the patient Bright Futures to hand out at that age, so that both of them can read what is going on for them. So here we also have, we talked about editing your website. We wanted to make it really easy for practices. You're busy, we're about to hit flu season coming up, kids are going back to school. My own kiddo starts tomorrow. So when they get back to school, I know they're going to be in the office more for sick visits. But it's really great to keep your community posted on what's going around. So if you know they're back to school and now pink eye is everywhere, you want to be able to quickly post that on your website and let them know these are things we're seeing. These are the top 3 to 5 items kids are coming in for. So to make this easy for you guys, we have, oh, I got logged out. 1 second. There we go. When we come in here, and I'll go in, ask someone from the practice, you would just go into your dashboard, right into medical content, and then you'll see the different buckets that we've already been looking at, medicine dosages, breastfeeding behavior, etc. When you go into what's going around, we have 16 pre-written articles on really common childhood illnesses that you can pull from, you can edit, or you can add your own. So you might say, yeah, we're really seeing a lot of allergies. You would just select, it makes that article live on the website immediately. You can also remove it and take it away. You can go into any of these and change them or add something on your own. So we've made it easy. As much as possible, you really want to be updating the content on your site monthly. And I know I had 0 people mark that, but that is telling Google that you are making changes to your site on a regular basis. And it might take less than a minute to come in, remove articles, select new articles, or add your own. So a powerful tool that is super easy to use and will make a difference on how Google ranks you. Consistency is really a key to what we're offering our parents. A consistent from the time, again, they call the office or maybe they're looking online to choose a pediatric practice. When they see the information online, it might be Is Your Child Sick by Bart Schmidt. Probably you're using that same information to triage calls. So whether you use the digital version with Clear Triage or you still have that really big book that your nurses are flipping through to get the information, that is the clinical side for the same articles. What is written on your site for Is Your Child Sick is written at an easier level, 6th, 7th grade, so that it's really easy for your end user, your patient, or patient that is looking up information to be able to look what is their next step for a specific illness. The other part of that is to keep that consistency is what happens after the visit. So after they've seen the doctor, we also have aftercare instructions that is the same information, but this is what your provider can offer. So let me pull this up. We will white label this for you so that it has your logo on it. It's pretty awesome. So let me just put in here, I'll say they came in for strep throat. So I'm going to do a search for strep. Here are some different aftercare instructions that have been written, and I'll say they have exposure. When I'm looking here, you'll see your logo on here, your Google font and colors are continued for consistency, and then right here is your aftercare advice, and you can send this out. You can send the link through your portal. You can print it right there in the office, however you want to get this to your parents, but super easy to do. You also have the ability to change this into a language they're comfortable with. This just came up recently. A provider shared with me that they had a grandma come in, and she is the main caretaker for the children, even though the parents work, but she's not comfortable with English. So they were able to pull this up, move it into her native language, and then she was able to read it in her language, and she actually cried in the office. She was so happy that as being the main caretaker for the children, she was able to understand what she should do as the grandma. And so that's also a really powerful thing that you could change this into any of the Google languages we have down here. Let me go back 1 second. I am going to look. I know we've had some questions come through. If someone on the OP team can take a peek at those and shoot those my way. If you have not dropped a question in yet, you can just go right in and drop that for us. We'd love to hear from you and make sure we're answering anything you came with today.
Hey there, Rebecca. Yes, it looks like we did get a couple, and it looks like we have time for a couple. And the first one is, Rebecca, is what's going around auto-updated based on seasonality, i.e. flu in fall, winter, allergies in spring, summer, or is that something that the practice should be updating?
The practice should be updating. So we'll go in globally. If there is really some new information on flu this year, we'll update what that article is globally. But if you've already customized it, I'll go with your custom article instead. But that is on the practice. So I suggest for practices on their Google Calendar, however they organize themselves, put a reminder in at least monthly. Hey, change what's going around. Go through your website as a parent, pull it up. And it's also really helpful if that is your default page. So when you go into the office and you're logging into your computer, your own website should be a default page bookmarked that comes up automatically. You will be the first one to notice if there's something wrong or something missing, or maybe you need to add an alert to your website. It'll just keep you constantly with your website in vision.
And thanks, Rebecca. It looks like we're right at time, so the other questions we'll certainly take down, and I'll let you finish up. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We have some resources attached. Feel free and download those resources. Click on those links, and you can take those with you. The next seminar we're going to do, I hope you will be able to come. It is our Lunch and Learn on how a custom website and SEO make it easy for patients to find your practice. I want to just thank you for taking time out today to join us. I appreciate that you took the time to slip in here and learn a little bit more. I hope this was worthwhile for you. You'll have a little survey at the end that's also super helpful for us to know how to lead the next one. Thank you so much.